Buckminster Fuller was a visionary ahead of his time who devoted his life to amplifying his impact for the freedom and betterment of humanity. He was an architect, inventor, and visionary whose work extended far beyond buildings and blueprints. Fuller believed that by reimagining how we live and use resources, humanity could achieve freedom through abundance. He introduced structures that mimic nature's designs, showcasing their strength and efficiency. Fuller saw Earth as a single spaceship, with all of us as its crew, responsible for its care and survival. His life's work was dedicated to solving the world's problems with smart, forward-thinking designs, reshaping how we view our relationship with the planet to create a future where humanity and nature can thrive in unity. Let's uncover the story of a Dymaxion human, a visionary who dedicates their entire being to maximizing individual potential, redefining the pursuit of freedom for all of humanity. The early years, shaping a visionary. Buckminster Fuller was born on July 12, 1895, in Milton, Massachusetts, into a distinguished New England family. As the fourth of 5 children, he was given the ancestral name Buckminster, connecting him to a long lineage of prominent figures and reinforcing the heavy expectations placed upon him to uphold his family's legacy. His father, Richard Buckminster Fuller Sr., was a successful businessman, and his mother, Caroline Wolcott Andrews, came from an equally esteemed background. Fuller was also the grandnephew of Margaret Fuller, a pioneering feminist, journalist, and transcendentalist who championed women's rights and intellectual freedom. Fuller's early understanding of society and the individual's role within it was profoundly shaped by his family's social circle of influential thinkers and progressive minds. His family placed a strong emphasis on education, intellectual pursuits, and social responsibility. From a young age, Fuller exhibited boundless curiosity and a natural talent for invention. Growing up on Bear Island in Penobscot Bay, off the coast of Maine, he was deeply influenced by the rugged natural environment, which nurtured his inventive spirit. He spent hours crafting items from materials he found in the woods, often creating his own tools.
I grew up the idea of cutting your own trees and making your own planks and making your own boats. It was a very exciting thing for my life.
By the age of 12, Fuller had developed a unique push-pull system for propelling a rowboat using an inverted umbrella, allowing the user to face forward and steer efficiently. Despite his creative talents, Fuller struggled academically. At age 4, he was sent to Milton Academy, a prestigious preparatory school in Massachusetts. His early performance was hindered by severe farsightedness, which went undiagnosed until age 7. This made it difficult for him to keep up with his peers, and he often felt out of place in traditional educational settings.
My eyes are very misshapen, so they're what they call very far-sighted. I have correcting lens. I had various things that I didn't know anything wrong with me because that's what I could see, and that's what I assumed everybody else could see.
Vision in the making, the formative years. The loss of his father in 1910, when Fuller was just 12 years old, deepened his quest for a purpose that transcended his family's expectations.
My father died when I was very young. My father was an incredibly loving man, and I didn't really miss the warmth of that father. And the very sad thing really happened. My father had a stroke 3 years before he died, and very, very serious of strokes, and really quite quickly.
With his family facing financial difficulties, these challenges shaped his early views on resource management and self-reliance, driving him to forge his own path. Fuller developed a fascination with machinery and construction, often building intricate structures from materials around the house. His time on Bear Island deepened his connection to nature and systems thinking, laying the groundwork for his holistic approach to problem solving and innovation.
And my mother would say, "Darling, never mind what you think, listen, we're trying to teach you." And she sacrificed a great deal to send me to what she felt was a good school. I did rank very high.
At age 14, Fuller attended a boarding school in Canada, where he excelled in hands-on learning, a sharp contrast to his earlier academic struggles. Here he thrived, taking on leadership roles in extracurricular activities. During this time, his interest in social issues grew, influenced by his family's intellectual and progressive environment. These experiences helped shape his vision and set the stage for his later innovations and contributions to society. From Vision to Collapse, Descent into Darkness. In 1913, Fuller enrolled at Harvard University and was accepted largely due to his family's social standing rather than his academic achievements.
Not only my father, but my uncles had all gone, so it was a continual Harvard to do.
His time there was brief. Disinterested in the academic environment and more captivated by social life, Fuller struggled to fit into Harvard's culture. In 1914, he was expelled for spending his tuition money on parties with a vaudeville troupe. During his expulsion, Fuller worked as a mechanic in a Canadian textile mill and took on management and labor roles in the meatpacking industry, gaining valuable experience in industrial processes and operations. In 1915, Fuller was readmitted to Harvard, but his return was short-lived. He was expelled again the same year for continued irresponsibility and lack of interest. Despite the weight of the Buckminster legacy, Fuller was beginning to find his own purpose, gradually shedding the expectations tied to his family name. Embracing the more approachable nickname Bucky, he stepped out from the shadow of his ancestors to find his true self. After leaving Harvard, Fuller joined the U.S. Navy during World War I. As a mechanic and shipboard radio operator, he was exposed to large-scale systems, engineering challenges, and the demands of problem-solving under pressure. Fuller thrived in this environment, even taking on roles as an editor of a naval publication and as commander of a crash rescue boat. Following his military service, Fuller returned to the meatpacking industry, where he further honed his management skills. In 1917, he married Ann Hewlett, marking the beginning of a lifelong partnership that would support both his personal and professional endeavors. In the early 1920s, Fuller partnered with his father-in-law to develop the stockade building system, an ambitious project aimed at revolutionizing the construction industry with lightweight, weatherproof, and fireproof housing. Despite the innovation behind their ideas, the company faced challenges. Fuller's unorthodox methods clashed with traditional practices, and the venture ultimately failed, leaving him financially and emotionally devastated. In 1922, Fuller faced his greatest personal tragedy when his first daughter, Alexandra, died from complications of polio and spinal meningitis just before her 4th birthday. This devastating loss compounded his sense of failure and plunged him into a deep personal crisis. The Epiphany, from uncertainty to Dymaxionism. After the devastating loss of his daughter Alexandra in 1922, Buckminster Fuller entered a period of profound crisis. Between 1922 and 1927, he grappled with the meaning of his life, his perceived failures, and the uncertain direction he wanted to take. Seeking a fresh start, Fuller moved to Chicago, but the change in scenery did little to alleviate his anguish. He withdrew from active business pursuits, entering what he later described as a period of silent observation. To cope with his overwhelming grief, guilt, and sense of failure, Fuller turned to alcohol. His drinking became a manifestation of his deep emotional turmoil, further exacerbating his feelings of hopelessness. During these dark years, he felt increasingly disconnected from his purpose, believing his life had become a burden on his family. By the age of 32, Fuller was unemployed, bankrupt, and still mourning the loss of his daughter, struggling to see a way forward from the depths of his despair. The birth of his daughter Allegra that same year added to the challenges, but also brought a renewed sense of purpose and responsibility. At his lowest point, Fuller found himself standing on the shores of Lake Michigan, contemplating ending his life so that his family could benefit from his life insurance. In that moment, Fuller experienced a profound revelation, an epiphany that would change the course of his life. He felt as though he was suspended several feet above the ground, surrounded by a bright light, and realized that his life did not belong to him, but to the universe. In that instant, he committed to a radical experiment, to discover what a single individual could achieve to improve humanity's standard of living while working in harmony with nature. If you want to dive deeper into Buckminster Fuller's powerful epiphany, click the link in the description for his own full explanation. And if you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and leave a comment down below, whether it's about Bucky or anything else you'd like to share. Dymaxion design, inspiration from Spaceship Earth. After his transformative epiphany in 1927, Buckminster Fuller embarked on a profound journey of self-reflection and intellectual growth. He immersed himself in a broad range of disciplines, including mathematics, physics, philosophy, architecture, and engineering. This period of intense learning laid the foundation for the revolutionary ideas that would shape his future work. Seeking a fresh start, Fuller moved to Greenwich Village in New York, a vibrant community known for its creative and intellectual energy. In 1929, Fuller embraced the term Dymaxion to brand his innovative ideas. The word was crafted by combining elements of dynamic, maximum, and tension, encapsulating his philosophy of creating solutions that were both highly efficient and resource-effective. After World War I, the United States was experiencing severe housing shortages. The inefficiencies plaguing the construction industry made housing costly, wasteful, and unaffordable. Fuller envisioned a house that could be mass-produced, easily transported, and quickly assembled, much like an automobile in its modularity and efficiency. Between the late 1920s and early 1940s, Fuller developed the Dymaxion house, a prefabricated, lightweight, energy-efficient dwelling designed to optimize space while minimizing material use. The house was modular, allowing for easy assembly and disassembly, making it highly transportable. Fuller's design prioritized comfort and practicality for everyday living, incorporating large windows for natural light, a rotating roof for ventilation, and an integrated climate control system.
But Mr. Fuller, why a round house?
Why not? The only reason houses have been rectangular all these years is that is all it could do with the materials we had. Now with modern materials and technology, we can apply to houses the same efficiency of engineering that we apply to suspension bridges and airplanes. The ventilator on top can induce a complete air change every 6 minutes. Air conditioning and heating cost only a quarter as much as in an ordinary house. Here is the living room. Its window is 40 feet long. These are the 2 bedrooms, each with its own bath. And the kitchen, complete with the refrigerator. The whole thing is as modern as a streamlined plane. The house is hung from a central stainless steel mast. Weighs only 4 tons in comparison to 150 tons for the ordinary house of equal size. Yet it is enormously strong and withstand winds up to hurricane force, beyond, up to 180 miles an hour.
Despite the innovative design of the Dymaxion house, the construction industry was resistant to adopting such unconventional ideas. The onset of World War II further complicated matters, leading to material shortages, particularly of metals like aluminum, which were diverted for military use. These challenges ultimately prevented the Dymaxion house from reaching mass production, but it remained a significant milestone in Fuller's quest to revolutionize housing and design. Blueprint for Freedom, discovering the Dymaxion Protocol. Buckminster Fuller distanced himself from being called an inventor. Instead, he labeled his discoveries and creations as practical solutions to real-world challenges. Dymaxion car, 1933. In 1933, Fuller introduced the Dymaxion car, a groundbreaking vehicle designed with a unique teardrop shape to maximize aerodynamics and fuel efficiency. This 3-wheeled car could carry up to 11 passengers, making it an ideal transportation solution during the Great Depression. However, during a demonstration at the 1933 Chicago World's Fair, one of the prototypes was involved in a fatal accident. Although the crash was later found to be caused by another vehicle and not a flaw in the Dymaxion car's design, the incident severely tarnished its reputation. Fuller also struggled to secure the financial backing needed to bring the car to market. Despite its innovations, the market was not ready for such radical changes, preventing the Dymaxion car from reaching mass production. Dymaxion deployment units, 1940. As World War II intensified, Fuller shifted his focus to the urgent need for portable, efficient housing for troops. In 1940, he introduced the Dymaxion deployment units, or DDUs, prefabricated shelters designed for rapid assembly and deployment in disaster-stricken or war-torn areas. Portable and modular, these units could be easily transported and combined to create larger living spaces. Originally intended for military use, the DDUs also had potential civilian applications, particularly in regions affected by natural disasters or requiring temporary housing. Despite their practical design, the DDUs were not widely adopted due to the wartime focus on other priorities and the challenges of scaling production. Geodesic Dome, 1949. In 1949, Buckminster Fuller revolutionized architecture with the invention of the geodesic dome, a structure composed of interlocking triangles that could enclose vast spaces with unparalleled strength and minimal materials. Its lightweight design and efficiency made it a game changer, with applications in eco-friendly homes, military installations, and greenhouses. Recognizing its potential, the U.S. government contracted Fuller's firm, Geodesic Inc., to produce domes for the Marines, leading to the construction of thousands of domes worldwide within a few years. Fuller's geodesic dome gained global prominence in 1967 at Expo 67 in Montreal, where the United States Pavilion, a massive geodesic dome, stood as a powerful symbol of innovation and sustainability. The design's impact was profound, inspiring a new wave of architectural thinking that combined beauty with environmental responsibility. Today, over 300,000 geodesic domes inspired by Fuller's design can be found across the globe. Fuller's influence extended far beyond architecture. In 1985, scientists discovered the buckyball, a carbon molecule named after Fuller because of its structural resemblance to his geodesic domes. This tiny molecule revolutionized nanotechnology and material science, paving the way for breakthroughs in drug delivery, electronics, and energy storage. Both the buckyball and Fuller's geodesic dome stand as lasting symbols of his vision for a sustainable, interconnected world. The Dymaxion bathroom and fog gun, 1937. In 1937, Fuller introduced the Dymaxion bathroom, featuring the revolutionary fog gun shower system, which used a fine mist to clean the body while minimizing water use. Designed as a prefabricated unit for easy installation, it embodied Fuller's vision of modular, sustainable living. Though the bathroom aimed to conserve water without sacrificing cleanliness or comfort, it was not widely adopted, largely due to the public's reluctance to embrace such a radical departure from conventional bathing practices. The Dymaxion map, 1943. In 1943, Fuller introduced the Dymaxion map, a groundbreaking projection that reimagined how we view the world. Unlike traditional maps, which distort the size and shape of land masses, Fuller's map presented Earth as a connected, distortion-free system. It allowed people to see the planet's continents and oceans without artificial boundaries, encouraging a global perspective. Its emphasis on global unity and resource management reflected Fuller's belief in a holistic, interconnected view of the world. Dymaxion chronophile. Buckminster Fuller's Dymaxion chronophile, housed at Stanford University, is one of the most remarkable personal archives ever created. Over nearly 70 years, Fuller meticulously documented every aspect of his life. Letters, sketches, photos, and even daily receipts, amassing over 140,000 pages. This exhaustive record encapsulates his thoughts, ideas, and actions in real time, offering an unparalleled chronicle of his journey through the 20th century. Fuller's chronophile was intended to gift humanity a glimpse into his solutions, mistakes, and experiences. The Dymaxion sleep. Fuller's dedication to efficiency extended to his sleep habits with the Dymaxion sleep experiment. For 2 years, he slept just 30 minutes every 6 hours, totaling 2 hours of sleep per day. Fuller believed this polyphasic schedule would maximize productivity, giving him more time to innovate. Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth, 1969. Buckminster Fuller published Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth, a groundbreaking book that redefined how humanity views the planet. Fuller portrayed Earth as a finite, interconnected vessel with limited resources, requiring collective management and cooperation. He urged people to see themselves as crew members aboard this spaceship, responsible for its care and survival. Its message was revolutionary, inspiring a global perspective on resource stewardship.
Comprehensive, anticipatory way of looking at things and thinking about the total needs of total man. You understand how I came a few years later to invent the word Spaceship Earth, to let me think about a total planet as beautifully designed and beautifully equipped as a ship. And how do you run it in such a way as to take care of everybody? And I felt this is exactly what great nations are not able to do. They have geographical limits, and great corporations, nobody's thinking about those terms. I said, we should be doing that.
Awards of a Visionary, Celebrating Legacy. Buckminster Fuller's groundbreaking work earned him countless awards and recognitions, each a testament to the profound impact he made across multiple fields. In 1960, Fuller was awarded the Frank P. Brown Medal by the Franklin Institute, recognizing his pioneering innovations in science and technology. This accolade specifically highlighted his work on the geodesic dome, a structure that revolutionized architecture, design, and engineering. In 1969, Fuller was named Humanist of the Year by the American Humanist Association. This award honored his dedication to global sustainability, resource management, and improving human well-being. In 1970, Fuller received one of architecture's highest honors, the AIA Gold Medal from the American Institute of Architects. This recognition solidified his contributions to architecture and design, which transformed architectural theory and practice. Throughout his career, Fuller earned 47 honorary doctorates, reflecting the broad influence of his work across fields like architecture, engineering, environmental science, philosophy, and the arts. He also authored over 30 books, exploring a wide range of topics, further establishing his legacy as a visionary thinker. In 1983, Fuller was awarded one of the United States' highest civilian honors, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, presented by President Ronald Reagan.
The Medal of Freedom is designed not to honor individuals for single acts of bravery, but instead to acknowledge lifetime accomplishments that have changed the face and the soul of our country. Individuals whose bravery, dedication, and creativity have enormously contributed to our quality of life and the cause of human freedom. A true Renaissance man and one of the greatest minds of our time, Richard Buckminster Fuller has made contributions as a geometrician, educator, architect, designer that are benchmarks of accomplishment in their fields. Among his most notable inventions and discoveries are synergetic geometry, geodesic structures, and tensegrity structures. Mr. Fuller reminds us all that America is a land of pioneers, haven for innovative thinking, and the free expression of ideas.
Together in vision, the enduring legacy. Buckminster Fuller passed away on July 1st, 1983, just days before his 88th birthday. At the time, his wife Anne lay unconscious in a Los Angeles hospital, battling cancer. Anne had been Fuller's steadfast partner for 66 years, offering unwavering support through every triumph and challenge. From managing household affairs to providing emotional strength during his most ambitious projects, Anne's dedication enabled Fuller to pursue his visionary work without distraction. She believed deeply in his mission and was instrumental in helping him remain focused on his goal of benefiting humanity. During what would be his final visit to her bedside, Fuller suddenly exclaimed, "She is squeezing my hand." It was as though in that brief moment, their connection transcended all, uniting them one last time. Moments later, Fuller stood up and tragically suffered a fatal heart attack. He passed away an hour later at the age of 87. Anne followed him in death just 36 hours later, as if their bond could not be broken, even in passing. They were laid to rest together at Mount Auburn Cemetery in Cambridge, Massachusetts, symbolizing their lifelong bond. After Fuller's death, their daughter Allegra founded the Buckminster Fuller Institute in 1983, continuing her father's legacy. The Institute promotes innovation in sustainable design and awards the Bucky Fuller Challenge to projects that reflect Fuller's principles of forward-thinking, comprehensive design. Ephemeralization, Path to Abundance. Buckminster Fuller coined the term ephemeralization, centering his philosophy around the idea of doing more with less. For Fuller, true wealth wasn't about accumulating money or material goods, but about maximizing the quality of life using minimal resources. To him, freedom was the ability to create abundance, without depleting the planet's resources. A vision that required a fundamental shift in how society approached economics and energy. Fuller saw money as a form of energy, arguing that, like energy, it should adhere to the laws of thermodynamics, neither created nor destroyed, but transformed and directed with purpose. He believed that printing fiat currency without real backing, such as resources or productivity, violated these principles, leading to economic instability.
We now know that wealth isn't the goal that the old pirates used to have. Wealth is energy, and we have an Einsteinian world in which the scientists found that when energy left any local system, it only did so by joining another system. It did not go out of the universe. But experiment after experiment, they found that energy can neither be created nor lost. So then suddenly we got a new clue to wealth. Wealth is not something that's going to deteriorate and get lost, which was a great way of thinking, and all the economics. Next thing I discovered that wealth consists of something more than energy. So I found that now that every time we use it, we say, I make an experiment. Now, every time you make an experiment, you always learn more. You can't learn less. You may learn that what you thought was happening isn't happening. That saves you a lot of your time. We want to then increase the effectiveness of that time. So I then say that the intellectual factor in wealth is one which every time we use it always improves. We always learn more. I've discovered that the energy part can't run down, and then the intellectual factor, every time we use it, improves. Therefore, wealth, I discovered, is something that always increases. We're going to have to make all of humanity successful or none.
Fuller critiqued traditional economic systems for treating money as an abstract, speculative instrument that could be manipulated without consequences. In his ideal world, money would be tied directly to the productive use of resources and human ingenuity, ensuring economic stability and reflecting real value. He critiqued politicians for focusing on short-term solutions driven by authority rather than long-term prosperity.
To get elected as president, you have to get $50 million. To be a senator, you need at least $5 million. To get to be representative, at least $1 million. This means that all representation is corrupt. The representation is not representing you, it's representing the money that gets you into Congress, so that money is always there, and so you have to make a lot of deals and compromises. So the system isn't working.
Fuller argued that centralized political power stifled innovation and adaptability, as decisions made from a distance were often disconnected from the practical realities faced by individuals and communities. His experiences during the Great Depression cemented his belief that centralized systems, both economic and political, led to inefficiency, inequality, and widespread suffering. In response, Fuller advocated for decentralization, the belief that individuals, when given the freedom to act independently, could innovate and solve problems more effectively than centralized planning. In works like Critical Path, he emphasized the importance of decentralized decision-making and self-sovereignty, empowering people to create solutions tailored to their local contexts rather than depending on top-down directives.
People say to me, I wonder what it'd be like to be on a spaceship. And I say to you, you don't really realize what you're doing. Because everybody is an astronaut. You all live aboard a beautiful little spaceship called Earth.
Thanks for sticking around till the end. Buckminster Fuller's life is packed with inspiring ideas that push the boundaries of what's possible. Next, check out the story of Julian Assange, the freedom fighter who risked everything to expose the dark truths of those in power. Click here